Welcome to How Can I Keep From Singing, a podcast devoted to the power of singing together in all kinds of venues, places, and for many reasons. My name is Stuart Stotts, your host, coming to you from rural Wisconsin. And on this podcast, we interview song leaders, thought leaders, all kinds of people who can shed some light on this ancient and powerful human activity and maybe offer some ideas about how to engage with it yourself at a deeper level. My guest this week is Ruth Pelham. Ruth is one of the most amazing and admirable human beings that I know. I've known her for more than 30 years. She's a captivating songwriter who knows the power of a hook, and she spent over 40 years singing with children and adults at innumerable kinds of venues. Ruth's lifelong passion is the music mobile, begun in 1977, kind of a revolutionary but simple idea that basically going to where children were, bringing and making recycled instruments and singing together, creating both community and music at the same time. Very, very powerful stuff. Ruth was born in 1949 in Brooklyn, raised with singing in families, at campfires. When she was 7 years old, she was given classical piano lessons. She says that when no one else was home, she would begin her practice sessions complete with a grand entrance, sweep down the stairs, and introduce herself and her songs to an imaginary audience. Later afternoons were spent singing with friends, 50 songs, folk songs, dreaming of being a folk singer. A lifelong activist in any number of causes. She knows a lot about the power of singing together. And I'm so delighted to welcome you here, Ruth. How Can I Keep From Singing?
So wonderful to see you, Stuart, and that you're doing this podcast in these times, people coming together in loving ways that heal rather than hurt, and the power of song. Good for you. Good for you.
I'm so glad to have you here. So, all right, well, so let's get into this here now. You have this background, singing with your family, singing at, I assume, like camps and things like that. Talk a little bit more about the early influences and reasons that bring you to understand and build on the power of singing together.
My family sang together all the time, and we sang going to my grandmother's house for Friday night Shabbos. I was raised Jewish, and there's lots of singing of songs with meaning, very much based in social justice and joy. So we sang, and I am so grateful because it never mattered what we sounded like. We just sang. And yes, I sing publicly, and sometimes I think I'm so grateful. I just have a regular voice. My voice is not a terrific, great voice. I'm not a formal singer. I'm a people singer. And that comes from my family. We spent summers at a bungalow colony upstate New York, and it was called Covart Farm, and there was lots of singing, and it was a very progressive bungalow colony for working class people. And many of the songs we sang there were the same songs we sang in the car and that I sang at camp. So there was a body of songs that had a style about them. Many of them were chorus verse, and there was always group singing, always group singing.
What a great way to be raised, first of all. And
to have it not matter what you sound like.
Well, there are two things I wanted to draw on right away. One is just that it seems like the heart of singing together is not being concerned with your own voice and how you sound because you're part of this group. And the second piece that you mentioned that is so important, I think, is this sense of joy. Sometimes, people sing together and they're sort of trudging through the words or something, but I'm interested in the experiences where people really bring joy to this event of singing together.
What's To me, one of the powers of singing is it singing together is it implies agreement. It implies we're all singing this together. And just that step over a threshold, and then the sound comes of whatever it sounds like, but that we can do something where we're all doing it together, I think is an act of revolution, actually. And we don't think about that. But to do something that is peaceful, that is fun, it's not always fun, but I just think it's a real act of cooperation.
I love that idea of, agreement because, sort of the voices agree when you sing with a large group of people, your voices just naturally blend. And an interesting word for that is agreement. Like we can agree that we're reaching for this common sound.
When I'm talking about singing together, I'm really thinking more of the informal ways of singing.
Right.
I'm not thinking of being in a very formal chorus, although that is thrilling. I've done that, and that is your whole being just shivers and vibrates with that beauty. But I'm thinking more about people just singing together, be it schools, be it wherever it be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Doesn't require this formal
No.
listening. I think that's exactly right. Let's talk a little bit about simplicity. Pete Seeger called you one of America's greatest songwriters, which I would have to agree with. And Pete also said,
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
Yeah, he said, any damn fool can make something complex. It takes a genius to make something simple. And so when I say that many of your songs have this simplicity to them, I mean it as the ultimate compliment. And you, as I mentioned earlier, you have on the one hand this ability to write songs that have a hook, that aren't just sort of good words, but that are really catchy. But they're also simple enough that people can learn them fairly quickly. And part of that is the power of the zipper song. Zipper song, just for folks who don't know, is where there's a song that has maybe one part that changes, one line or one word. Like If You're Happy and You Know It is a zipper song, or Old MacDonald is a zipper song.
Yes.
And you write fantastic zipper songs. So could you just talk a little bit about this idea of simplicity and how people learn songs and what it takes to have a song that people can sing together?
What motivates me to write zipper songs and songs that are not complex is that means that people can participate.
Right.
That you're not intimidated by, oh, I can't sing that melody. And that you don't have to remember a whole lot of words. It's immediate. Here it is, and let's sing it. Another part of zipper songs for me is that I'm not the only songwriter involved in the singing of the song. I might start, for example, we're going to look to the people for courage in the hard times coming ahead. Gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people's courage, we can make it. Then I might sing, gonna look to the people for loving, and then it takes off. And it's like, please call out words that can go in there so that it empowers people, not just in the singing, but your idea, your little word really, really matters.
Look to the people for loving in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, we're gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people.
You're listening to How Can I Keep From Singing? My name is Stuart Stotts, and my guest this week is Ruth Pelham.
With people's loving, we can make it. We're gonna look to the people.
Giving people space to be seen and heard, to me, is a big part of what group singing is about when I do that. And it's fine to sing songs that, people sing songs that are not zippers. It's wonderful. But I especially love when people who think, well, I'm not a songwriter. It doesn't make me larger than life as the writer or the song leader. It's an us. And that power of us is transformative.
I see that, I sing a lot with young kids. It's the same idea. You do a song that just has one thing, all of a sudden they have this creative input that matters because their word shows up in the song. And the other great thing about zipper songs, of course, is just that the repetition. You don't have to learn even a chorus and a verse. You learn one part and then it comes around again and again. And, by the third or fourth time, you're not going to be tricked. And you can sing along and you're going to be right there with everybody else.
The other styles of songs are echo songs.
Right.
Adding songs, adding lines. You add a word, you sing the word before. You add another word, now you're singing that word and the ones that came before that.
Right.
And it requires concentration and it's fun. So all those different styles of group singing are different with the same goal of engagement.
Yeah, it's not just, as you said earlier, a one-way thing. I'm singing this song and, you can kind of sing along if you want. I mean, I've seen that a million times, but it's very different than saying your participation is essential to what it means to make this song move forward. Let's talk a little bit about the unknown techniques or considerations that you have. Say you're going to a place and you're going to be singing and you're going to be singing with people. What are sort of some of the things that you're bearing in mind? For example, one thing might be setting or how people get warmed up to the idea or whatever. There are things you may not even be thinking about consciously, but after all these years of doing it, you're nevertheless coming in there with those things in mind.
One of the things I would say about my way of putting a series of songs together is that I'll think about the flow in terms of tempo, in terms of meaning, but mostly what I do is I can have that list and completely throw it out. I'm focused on what the feeling is in the place that I'm singing at. And I can change my mind on a dime because something has either come to my attention or whatever. And I love the spontaneity of it. It keeps it fresh for me. I'm aware of, especially with children, of having motions that are involved in the song. Not just children, but adults, I think, often don't think, we're going to do motions. And it opens a door to doing something that you might feel funny about at first, but it's really fun because everybody's laughing together. But the spontaneity and the flexibility, I think, is a very, very important part of it, for me at least.
I think that after having done this for many years, what I'm responding to most of all, which I think is what you're saying, is the energy in the room.
Yeah.
So it needs to come up, needs to come down. We need to, quieter, louder, whatever, those kinds of things. So yeah, I'm have a set list, but it can go out the window in a second. And I think that's true of many people who do this sort of called folk music in the broad sense,
I remember being at a festival and being on a workshop with other songwriters. The workshop was about songs for social change and social justice, songs of healing in these times. I had written a song that I particularly wanted to sing at that workshop, but the person who sang before me sang a song that was very, very heavy, and you could just feel what I was going to sing is just not the song to sing. So I sang a different song, and one of the things that came up for me was my ego. It was, but I really want to sing that song that I worked so hard on singing. But on the other hand, that is not what people need. And who am I serving? Myself, the audience? Not to say that being a song leader, sometimes you get your ego stroked a lot. Doing this work is a privilege, and to have people applaud and love you. And that, to me, brings up humility. And that's why it's not just about me, it's about us. And to have enough songs at your fingertips that you can follow your gut and sing what is needed at that time is a very important part of having a song bag.
Who was someone who was a heroine for you growing up in terms of this, especially singing together? Who, or it can be more than one person, but who sort of set the bar for you?
I'm going to name 3 different people. One of them, of course, is Pete Seeger. The elegance, simplicity, the generosity, the openness of his song leading is the essence of Pete. Modeling that and inviting people in is every bit as powerful as any words that come out of his mouth. Pete Seeger is certainly one of them. Another person was a camp counselor that I had when I was going to 6th grade, and her name was Ann Adler at Camp Wellmet. And Ann was the song leader. And every night before dinner, Ann led these songs with probably 75 of us about sailors, about people working in the mines, about civil rights. One of the things I remember about her is she was very short. I'm smiling here because I'm very short. I'm 4'10" now. And she was this small person with this big, big gift. And she sang often the same songs every night. And it meant that you had a different relationship to the songs all the time. It was just great. And another pair of heroes, triplets, I would say, are my parents and my sister singing in that car. That it bonded us. It bonded us. We were equals. And in families, you're not necessarily equals. There's the mother, the father, the two mothers, two fathers, whatever it is these days. But we took turns. There were never arguments about singing, ever, 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 ever. And that's where it started for me, at home, in the living room, singing Woody Guthrie songs. I roll the ball to mommy, she rolls it back to me. I roll the ball to dad for hours on end.
I certainly, if there's anybody I could have with this podcast, it would be Pete Seeger. But, he's certainly set the model for so many of us.
He is.
You talk about their family and as a child having these experiences, which unfortunately I think fewer and fewer children and families take part in. You got your earbuds on and things like that. So that it's an experience that is less and less accessible to people. Let's talk just a little bit about politics here. Not everything I'm interested in this podcast is necessarily political, but clearly singing together has this historical power. Think about the civil rights movement in particular, but beyond that, it does matter that what words you sing. But what matters, I think, more is that you're singing together. I don't know if you could just maybe talk a little bit about your own experience, the power of this singing together in political movement and activity.
I mean, my mind is just filling up with memories that I have. To have a group of people sing out words that sometimes are in defiance of parts of reality that are absolutely contrary to every notion you have about what it is to be human. Whether those songs come out with anger, with compassion, that you can say things. I, as a songwriter, can say things in a way and sing them in a way that is not threatening. And there's something very subversive. Not something, it's the words, it's the music. Music gets in your head. Earworms, I think they're called.
Right.
And words get in. And that is incredibly powerful, to have a song that reflects values of humanity being in you. And once it's in you, it doesn't go away. It's there for a lifetime. And there are examples I can think of that using song to bring people together. There was a time here in Albany when I used to MC the AIDS walk, which meant I had a lot of power of what happened on the stage. I think it was a mayoral race, and there were 3 people that were running against each other, and there was a lot of animosity between them. And I had very warm relationships with each of them. So I asked them, and I knew they were coming to the AIDS walk because, of course, they wanted to be seen and heard, and they were all wonderful, wonderful people. So I said, would you like to come up on stage and help me lead a song? And person 1 said, oh, yeah. Person 2 said, oh, yeah. Person 3 said, oh, yeah, because they just were these wonderful people. So there we were, the 4 of us, up on the stage singing, love is all around, love is all around. People here today, we're fighting for AIDS, love. And here are these men, these grown men singing, and everybody knew that they had these contentious relationships. And there they were, singing love is all around, doing the motions that go with that song. And it was so powerful and so sweet. And they were looking at each other and smiling. It was just so dear. It was like, of course we'll sing with you, Ruth.
Love is all around. Love is all around.
You're listening to How Can I Keep From Singing? My name is Stuart Stotts, and my guest today is Ruth Pelham.
Is all around. The earth is our treasure. How lucky.
Going out of the box. It's like we can use singing together in ways that we don't really think about. I remember one time it was the holiday season at the post office, and people online were really, really edgy because the line was really, really, really long. And something came up, somebody said something, and I don't know why I did it, but I just started to sing, and everybody sang at the post office online.
Yeah.
And the spontaneity of it, contradicting social norms to sing, is a very, very powerful way of being. Those people had never sung together before and never would sing together again. And I made a point of naming that, of saying, isn't this something? Look, we don't even know each other. And we're all singing. And again, it's people bonding and being people together.
You're shifting the narrative there, and it's beautiful. I love those, both of those
fun.
stories, right?
It's
But it
such
also
fun.
takes someone who has both the courage and a certain knowledge and confidence to make that happen, which you certainly embody. And I think the other thing is this idea of embodying through music, whether it's through movements or words. There's a way it gets into your body that's deeper than just thinking. So I love that. I appreciate that so much. Maybe, do you have any recordings, your own you can certainly mention, but other recordings that you might point people towards if they were interested in hearing something that exemplifies this? And it's of course, it's harder to capture on a recording because we're talking about a live thing, but anybody you would suggest people listen to?
Well, one thing I would suggest is the Children's Music Network is a fabulous organization. And we have a website, CMN Online, and in there is the song resource section that has dozens and dozens and dozens of songs for people to sing together. For me, I have recordings, Look to the People, Room for Us All.
And Ruth, are those on streaming services, or where would people
I think some of them are.
Yeah, okay.
What I go to a lot is I go to YouTube and find singing and songs. I'm just thinking, like, as examples of group singing, where do we get to see that, of examples of that?
Right. It's hard, isn't it? Because it really is an experience grounded in being present and not in a virtual way. So.
And the virtual way, these days, you can have 100 people on Zoom, each singing different parts,
Right.
which is fabulous, but we're not singing together.
Right, exactly.
Oh, another thing, Stuart, that I just want to say is a lot of people leading songs on Zoom or just don't like to have people singing together on Zoom because the timing of it sounds like cacophony. I often am disappointed because I want to do that.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes people say, no, Ruth, don't do that. It just sounds awful. And to me, it's like, let's hear the sound of what awful sounds like because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Who cares?
At least for making
little,
noise, right? Yeah. Well, so anything you'd like to add here? Just something that comes to mind. And again, this conversation I know could go on for a long time, but something that you would want to tell folks about singing together in whatever way.
Yeah. A lot of people won't sing because they've been told they can't sing.
Right.
People are very inhibited about their voice. And I just, again, want to say, sing anyway. And if people are having any problem with how you sound, that's their problem. We have to unlearn this lesson that so many of us grew up with, that you have to sound a particular way to sing. Just sing. And also, people think, oh, I'm not a song leader. I wouldn't. It's like, give it a try. Let's not objectify it. Song leading, there are some elements. One, love and openness, taking a risk that you can do it, even if you make a fool of yourself. And 3 is that you will kind of transform yourself. It's like, I did that? And I think we all really need those moments where, oh, I had no idea I could do that.
Yeah.
And it's not the formal singing along or song leading. It's making noise together with melody. And it's back again to love, to cooperation, to agreement. Another thing, Stuart, just the last thing is, I often tell people, if you don't know the words, just mumble along. Mm-hmm. Just mumble along, make up your own words as you go along, just sing. Right. And Stuart, I want to thank you for doing this podcast.
Well, Ruth.
It's such a generous, I love you, Stuart.
Thank you. I love you. I've loved having this time to just hear some small part of the depth of who you are and what you have to offer.
Thank you.
Again, Ruth Pelham, thank you very much for being here today. With that, we'll say goodbye for now and keep singing. I love your, actually, sing anyway. There you go. There's a motto.
Sing anyway.
production of Common Arts Incorporated. My name is Stuart Stotson. My guest today was Ruth Pelham.